Hey, what's up, everyone? Eric and Sean with OzoneTCG. Today, we're talking about YCS Niagara results, top 32, top 16, top 8 conversions. We're going to take a look at some of the top 8 deck profiles. We're also going to talk about kind of the ban list moving forward uh, based on the past couple of events, YCS Niagara, YCS Rio, and kind of what needs to happen. OCG just recently received a ban list. Um, we're not going to really talk about that here, but it's kind of funny how they've received 2 lists by the time that we've not even received 1.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
So
both of them have been actually kind of bangers back to back.
yeah, it's been insane, and they have a few months ahead of us in set releases and just the cards. But they've been doing a pretty decent job at actually toning down a lot of decks that were played. But as far as YCS Niagara, so top 32, we had 15 Sprite, 12 Tearlament, 2 Exosister, 2 Fluonderies, and 1 Math Mech. And I guess 5 out of those 32 decks were playing Runic. I think 4 of those were Sprite, and 1 of those Tearlament. Not sure how the Tearlament variant works, but people were theorizing about the Sprite variant of the deck. And I what are your thoughts on this? I
On
think
the
it's
runic cards and Sprite?
specifically
I
those, and then
think
also the top 32.
I think the runic cards like really complement the Mystic Mine portion of Sprite really well, because I know a lot of these had to be playing mine. In addition to that, I think the fact that you always just have a level 2 Extender now means that losing your normal summon doesn't matter as much as before. So I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The battle phase, like losing that is a really big trade-off, but I think the upsides you get with the runic cards is worth it.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, with the way that people have been playing like Tearlament with like maining Dark Ruler no more, it feels kind of similar. Maybe that was the thought process playing the Runic version. Even though you're not able to destroy your opponent's monster by battle using the Runic cards because of the battle phase skipping, it's a little similar. Kind of out there. But so the Exosisters, I know they were both on Shifter, of course. It is a Dimension Shifter deck, just like Fluonderies. I know at least one of them was playing Necro Valley, but I'm not sure both of them were playing then. Fluonderies is Fluonderies.
So, what's funny is that both of these Exosister players are like really known for playing Striker.
Yep.
Like, I know one of them was Ryan Yu, which got second, I think, at our Nets playing Striker, and then the other one was an Asian guy. I do not remember the name of him, I'm sorry. But he also played a lot of Striker beforehand. So the fact that both of them decided to play Exosister for this event, both did really well. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, Raymond Dye right here. You guys will see on screen. This was the guy who ended up winning. And then, of course, Ryan Yu. He lost in top 32 with one of versus looks like Isala. Yeah. Yep. So kind of how it goes. So top 32 here. A lot of well-known players, and I know people were saying that one of the LA regional had more players. I think Niagara capped at 900. LA had 975 players, but there were a lot fewer well-known players there. Ultimately, it's up to you whether or not that really matters. Personally, I would always say that the more players there are, probably tells a little bit of a better story of the game. The YCS Niagara, I think, because there are more well-known players there, we will see a lot of different tech choices that matter in Top Cut, but not necessarily in those regional rounds. I don't know, kind of my what I think about this, but so this is top 32 again. A lot of different variants of Sprite overall. Previously, we kind of didn't see Sprite take, at least in YCS Rio, there weren't as many top spots with Sprite as I would say Tearlament, I think. But Sprite had a really interesting kind of curve here. So again, 15 Sprite in top 32. Top 16 ended up being 8 Tearlament, 6 Sprite, 1 Exosister, and 1 Fluonderies. And then top 8 was 6 Tearlaments, 1 Sprite, and 1 Exosister. And the one thing that I was really curious about is that the Sprite players in top 32, I don't think any of them paired against like an actual Sprite deck. One of them was a Tearlament Sprite deck, but I don't know if it was just playing the Jet 1 Smashers or if it was like the Frog variant. But they actually didn't play each other, so it was literally just Sprite playing versus like mostly Tearlament and Exosister and Fluonderies. in
Yeah,
top
sprite
16.
conversion in Top Cut has been a little bad lately.
Yeah.
But I still think it's like, obviously, it's still a really good deck.
Yes, I agree.
Just Tier is just much better in Top Cut. And I think honestly just a better deck overall since how you answered different boards. It's just, the ceiling for that deck is just so high.
Yeah, I do think Tier in the long run is the better deck, like, to pick up. But if you want to do really well at any event, you're probably fine just playing Sprite. And it's also idiot proof. You can not know how to play the deck whatsoever and probably do well with it just because the cards are extremely powerful and kind of pushed. Yeah, I don't know. I did actually like this event, even though there was no stream coverage. Kind of sucks, but there were a lot of written articles about it, and we actually have all the top 8 deck lists, which I don't think has happened for a while. I actually don't remember the last time this happened. They used to do this a couple years ago, but they really haven't since. And I guess just to compensate for no stream, then they posted the top 8 list. Kind of sucks for those trying to get top 8 deck profiles out there. But we're going to take a look at it from top 8 and upwards, and then we're going to talk about kind of what needs to be hit, what we see as the problem here. Victor Lam playing just like a pure Tier Elements deck. Interesting to see Ash Blossom at the 2 of, with the 3 Crow, 3 Nibiru. I think this was really popular at Niagara. A lot of the Tier players are playing the Danger variant, and they're just kind of going all in. I wouldn't say you lose Nibiru, but it can hurt if you've exhausted all of your Tier effects for the turn. And then my favorite part of this, I really like this list overall. I think it's a really clean list, considering the rest of them. The Supreme Sea Mare was an OCG play. It also, I think it debuted either in Dimension Force or Power of the Elements. I actually don't remember which. But you can play it because it acts just like a Rain of Heart. It just, on normal special summon, mills any aqua monster from your deck to your graveyard. Yeah, this is like a more control version, or mid-range rather. I'm just trying to gather resources every turn. Summon like, yeah. So I guess the idea is to summon like Dweller or Bahamut Shark and Redoer with underneath Sprite Elf, and just kind of control the board from there. I love to see Underworld Goddess here. I know some people have issues with like Ignister variants making a 4 to 6k towers. That's your answer, one of them. Borland. Interesting to see, speaking of which, no dragon in Top Cut. I don't know how many adventure variants there were. I know there were a couple out of the like Sprite and Tier players, but really not a whole lot, and there weren't any dragons.
I want to say they confirmed that there was only, I think, 3 adventure decks in Top Cut.
Let's see. I know. Let's just see. I see. Yep, 3 right here.
Oh yeah, they even mentioned it down there at the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right there, yeah. And so honestly, like I said, the written coverage of this was actually way better than it usually is. Usually these articles are just to show who's in Top Cut and maybe a feature match, but they've actually added more here, kind of little blurbs about the decks. And I know one of my judge friends has been trying to push that because he's consistently on there. Anyway, back to top 8. Squiddy here, Chansey Wigglesov on Sprite, playing, 17 hand traps, something like that. 3 Ash, 3 Crow, Diva Veiler, Ogre, Nibiru. Pretty standard besides the Pixies. I don't know if the Pixies ever came up. I guess I'll have to see on deck profiles later. But again, another really clean list, honestly. Glad to see that Imperm is making its comeback here. And then, of course, pretty standard extra deck, honestly. I think the one thing in his side deck was Shifter.
Yep. If you can play Shifter, you should play it.
Yeah, if your deck can play, I completely agree. And that's what OCG was doing for a while until the ban list, being able to just recycle it using the Heraldic Seas monster. So
he's playing Gamma Burst too, which is interesting. And the side deck.
Oh, in the side. I didn't even see
I believe that's the attack gain.
Yeah, it gains 1400, but it can also work for your opponent. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see deck profiles whenever his release to see what his reasoning for that in Pixies was. Maybe it was literally just to attack with Gigantic Sprite, because honestly, sometimes the 3200 Gigantic Sprite is hard for some decks to out. Kind of weird, but yeah, kind of how it goes. Otherwise, really.
His real name, by the way?
What, this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his actual name.
Interesting.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of nice name, but well.
Yeah, it's funny. no hate. And then of course
Oh.
Pac was playing Danger Punk Tearlament. I guess he's been playing this for a while. He's just been working on it. I don't know all the details, the exact details on it, but it looks like a Punk Tearlament deck, honestly. You know,
5 dangers.
Shinobi Necro turned out to be an insane card with Chaos Ruler, Make Baron. I know they were originally testing, this was a couple months ago though, the one rank 8 that draws 3 each turn. Yeah, but he was playing the 1 jet, 3 blue. Okay.
Only 1 kick careless, and he's playing anti-magic arrows, which is just kind of interesting.
Yeah. Inside New Dweller. So anti-magic arrows I know has been played recently. Before I cover that though, the 1 Kit Close, apparently a lot of tier punk players have dropped Kit Close to 1 since you can recycle it, and a lot of them say you don't need the second one necessarily, which I think is fine for this variant. Other versions, not so much, like the first top 8 Victor's top 8 list, you definitely need 2 at least. And if you're not playing like Double Dragostapelia, you need both of them to just keep recycling your sources.
Also, I want to say this is his first IRL like premier top.
Yes,
I can't remember any other event. Yeah. Okay. So
Yep,
yeah.
it is. He mentioned it on Twitter that it was his first. He's bubbled quite a few of them, but he really started to play the game 2019 and into 2020. So he's done well at online events, but this is his actual first in-person premier event top. Yep.
That's good.
Yep. Good to see it. And then Anti-Magic Girl, I guess it's literally just for back row decks, like for the Wonder Reed's Exo Sister. It's the idea. And then a lot of people are playing Skullmark Ladybug. I actually want to see if so he didn't play Victor didn't play anything for time. I don't think he didn't play what is it called, Gaga Cowboy. So he anticipated never going into time as well. That's kind of something we'll have to talk about in a different video about how to play into time, because it's really, really hard to right now with just the amount of interactions each deck does each turn, both your turn and your opponent's turn. Next list, Luke Parks, Danger Tearlament. Okay, pretty standard. He's playing the Brandon High Spirits. Saw that. I think that tech gets a lot better when Lelucaros comes out, because you can still use Lelucaros to summon, and it's not just like a dead card. And then, of course, the 1 Mystic Mine in here. Eradicator, also, this card is absolutely disgusting to play in Tearlament. Boredom's second place list in the Oceanics region event. I know he did very well because he played Eradicator, you mentioned it. So really interesting to see there. Otherwise, pretty standard. Side deck, I have no idea why he's playing Agave Dragon.
That's for time.
Oh, for time, okay. Because it burns, okay.
Yep.
And then he's playing...
Yeah, burns or gains life points, one of the two, but
yeah. Yeah, I know it has different effects based on, like...
the materials used.
Yeah, it's a weird card. 3 deck heavy for Sprite, and then Reaper. I think more players played Reaper as well. And people are starting to play Nibiru again. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. And of course, he's playing the double Kickalos. Victor was also playing double Kickalos. So kind of how it is. First, before even going to Dominic Couch's profile, the 1 Kickalos. So I feel like if you're playing the punk version, you're playing just the 1. That seems to be the trend here. He's playing some Sprite techs. He's not playing the 3 Sprite blues, unlike Pac here, but he is playing Eradicator, Droplet, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, Pac was on Droplet too, but is Dominic Couch on Luxury?
I'm actually not sure. It's a good question.
Okay. His deck is like basically the same as Pac's. So I'm assuming they like worked on it together.
Probably did anyway. Oh yeah, he's sided the Dweller, Anti-Magic Arrows.
Yep.
This is a very similar list actually. I think it's almost the exact same side.
Minus the same danger count too. So
yeah, no, that would make sense. I think he is probably. Then of course Italy just being insane really makes the Tearlament version of the punk version of Tearlament very, very strong. Next up, Christian Urena. I'll just mention the tweet because it was hilarious that he ended up topping with Tearlament. He made a comment on Twitter saying that he doesn't want to leave, deck tops or playing a deck up to chance. Ended up playing Tearlament. how it goes. But it's funny. Glad that he did well, though. He's playing a bunch of hand traps too. I do like his build. I think it's actually pretty good.
I'm not sure about the mortar, but everything else is nice.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I do like Imperm in Tier Lament because Dweller, oh my god, that card. I'm not gonna say that it should be banned or that I want it to be banned, but it's so frustrating to play against as a tier player.
Also,
but
I'm glad he's not playing Ash. I think every other hand trap he has right now is just higher value than Ash.
Even Mourner?
Yeah, except Mortar, but I guess he just liked the 9th copy of Effect Veiler.
Like a fake Veiler. Yeah, I feel like if I were playing this version, I would literally just change the Mourner to Ash, but I don't think it's necessarily better right now. Just kind of doesn't do a whole lot. Maybe even like, oh no, he's playing Nibiru. Never mind. But he was playing Gaga Cowboy for time. When I've been testing this deck or a similar version, every single time I just like want to have Cowboy. Just my own experience from the deck. Again, his is to set up like Dweller, Bahamut Shark, or Redoer underneath Elf, and you just control the board from there with your hand traps, mill whatever you want, banish whatever you want with Snow. Your hand traps sometimes can be used if they're like Crow or Ghost Reaper. He's not playing Reaper though. Yeah, he's playing Triple Cosmic. Also, the one thing that a lot of people were starting to play or talking about was Unending Nightmare for Mystic Mine, and I guess theoretically Runic. It's really hard to use against Runic though, but you could technically play it versus them, but probably just for the Mystic Mine. I don't know how many people were actually playing the Beat Cop, like the Joshua Schmidt Beat Cop variant of Sprite. Yeah, I don't know if that kind of dropped off since then.
Something I gotta notice is that most tier players are only playing Celiac now, and no meta noise because Celiac is just better.
No, it's really hard to make meta noise work right now, and usually the effect negation is just stronger than Book. Not that Book has a bad effect and that Foolish is, but it's just harder to consistently use properly, and it's always easier just to leave a tier box on the field and be able to send it off. Also, it's a better mill. Always going to be a better mill because there's always a plus off of it if you don't use the effect previously. A lot of Drolls. Didn't mention this before. Bunch of Drolls, bunch of Gammas. I guess Droll is for what? The Danger variant of tier and kind of Sprite. You could play it versus them. I don't know.
Cool.
Seems like that's what it is. Next list, Jesse Cotton. He got shifted twice in finals. Really unfortunate because Shifter is just it's a card. Outskilled, I guess.
Celiac, by the way. Very
okay. Yeah. I didn't even see that. Okay. He's playing what? 45 looks like.
Yeah, he's playing more
46. Yeah. So, okay. He's playing he plays the Sprite Jet play. So this is very similar to Boredom's list with just some changes. Extending the tier package. I know Triff was playing an extended tier package as well. Yeah. I don't care for the double Gizmek, but I can see because desires. You need both Gizmek and Snow, generally speaking, to do your Zerabros play. Though I don't think they're actually. Oh yeah, he's playing Zerabros. And then
also.
Yep, really cool. I hate this card. It's such a terrible card, but I understand why he played it. It's just stupid. It's such a stupid card. The Reaper is cool though, and then of course Gamma, Red Reboot, Cosmic. Clean, really clean side deck. I normally don't like siding like Link monsters or any extra deck monsters, but the Agave makes sense for time. But having so many cards for time, I mean, a lot. I guess kind of
Cosmic is very good.
Yes. I think Cosmic and Gamma have been the MVPs for most people this week, and especially Cosmic. Not just because of Mystic Mine, again, because of the Beat Cop threat. Like, I'm definitely terrified of Beat Cop Mine, but for Runic. And I think people are starting to prepare for that variant, and it's why it didn't really convert super well into Top Cut. Made a decent showing for being the opening weekend for it, but not as good as it probably could have been if people were less prepared, if that makes sense. I think this card's going to be the MVP on the side moving forward. Also, people seem to be dropping Galaxy Cyclone again because Runic can protect it. So that's the whole reason. Finals list, the final list: Raymond Die, Exo Sister. It's a pretty standard monster count, but it's where the spells. So again, a bunch of the spells is the difference, and some of the extra deck monsters usually they're just playing a bunch of Exo Sister Xyz because you kind of have to if you're locked in with Martha. One Call, 3 Dark Ruler, 1 Carpe Diem. I actually don't know what this card does. I don't remember what this one is.
That is the one that is Prohibition if you actually release someone.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay.
And then it's also Called by the Grave, I want to say. Yeah.
An extra copy. Okay. And then the double Mystic Mine, 1 Necro Valley. I guess him and Ryan, you were also on. They were both on Necro Valley for tier. Really hard to out that card as tier unless you're playing the Bigfoot. Yeah, Prosperity, Terraforming, pretty standard. 2 Returnia, 2 Vidis, and 3 Imperm. Extra deck. He is playing non-Exo Sisters, like I said, in the extra deck. Again, generic to summon, kind of generic. I don't know how often this came up. And then Utopia the Lightning, beat over stuffing for Zeus.
I'm not say, if you ignore Oceana, this is either the 4th or 5th deck in a row to main Mystic Mine and win.
Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second because I have a bunch of comments about that. And then side deck again, Cosmic, Gamma. Of course, Red Reboot. Red Reboot's always just gonna be insane. Yeah, just kind of how it is. So, as far as the ban list goes, I'm hoping that we will see one sometime this week. People have been saying there might not be one until next week because of tins, but I really don't think there's a whole lot in the tins that would ever get hit. It's honestly mostly just the staples being reprinted in there and some of the rarity upgrades, and that's really it. There's, they didn't reprint Sword Soul, which I don't think needs to be hit anyway. They reprinted Fluondaries and Shifter, but it's kind of a minor thing. I don't think Shifter is going to get hit this list, but it probably should. Definitely Mystic Mine though. That card just needs to go at this point. So I guess where it comes in, what we expect to see soon. Besides Mystic Mine, Scythe, and something from Adventure.
Hulk too, please. And
Hulk, yeah. Maybe even Chaos Ruler if we want to take a step further for just the combo plays, because they are going to get disgusting, especially with Beasted cards coming out in a month and a half ish. Yeah, we'll probably get a list this week or next week. It will probably be in effect through like the middle of January ish. That's what I'm going to guess. I don't think they're going to give us an exact date unless the whole Christmas debacle from the last list is going to be when they release the next ban list. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was just a test before.
It was a placeholder, because the other ones all say later.
Originally, I mean.
This would be our second list this year,
right? Third.
Third?
Yeah. February when Protoss was banned, then in May, and then now.
Okay. Yeah.
Now-ish, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's quite uncommon to only receive 3 lists in a year. I don't think that's happened for a while. Even with the lack of exact dates that they've been doing for the last couple of years. They used to have, for those who don't know, who are newer-ish players, there used to be a date saying there will be a new list at this exact day. So like August 15th or whatever. They haven't done that in years. It's been always, the list will update no sooner than this time. And people have always taken it as this date, but that's not the case. So Spiral, when it came out, people were expecting that to get hit immediately. There was an adjusted list, emergency list, whatever they called it. But then it said after this date, that's when the new no sooner than meme was born. But they've since removed that since the last list in May of this year and said the list will update in a couple months. Never happened before. Unprecedented. So we are just kind of here sitting around waiting for the list, seeing Mystic Mine take basically the last 4 or 5 events. Kind kind of unfortunate, but how it is. But I don't know what else would need to get hit. There's just so much coming out the rest of the year that's going to be insane. Almost every single product for the rest of the year is a really good product to buy.
I agree. Devil or Darkwing Blast is actually just an insane set.
Yep.
And each new cards are also just that shit broken, so we'll see.
Yep. I think the Crystal Beast stuff is cool for those who like GX. More of a nostalgia set. Same with Crystal's Revenge, but Crystal's Revenge might have some relevant reprints. I'm not sure. But those are like the only two like side products that probably aren't going to be as good as everything else. But like Magnificent Mavens, like you said, Darkwing Blast, and of course Power of the Elements, insane sets, just absolutely insane for virtually everyone. I guess we'll kind of have to see. Maybe we'll have a separate bandless discussion, but hopefully we see something sooner rather than later. I'm really sick of having to play around Mystic Mine. I've been since it released, honestly.
Yeah, I think we're honestly gonna get bandless tomorrow, but that's just the hopium.
Maybe. I could see they've released a couple times the day after, or at least within the week after a big event like this. And again, even besides the tins, I just don't think anything in the tin is going to get hit. Again,
yeah, I don't think there's anything worth getting hit on the tins anyway. So.
Besides Shifter.
Yeah. Shifter is the tins?
Yeah. Reprinted as an Ultra.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Okay.
And then budget Fluonderies. So I Fluonderies, you can build that deck. I'm going to play it for under 100 now, even after insane prices. A pre-order price like 35. The rest of the core is the cheapest dirt. So let us know what you guys think about Niagara. I just hope we see like Pasadena and Minneapolis have a little bit better representation and not so many just degenerate cards. And we'll have a ban list by then for sure. They're not going to wait another month, I don't think. Yeah. And thank you as always for watching.